Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. In this video I'll be taking you through the paintwork on this silver metallic S350 Mercedes Benz. The colour name is Iridium Silver Metallic and the paint code is 775. I think it's a German colour, and over there I think they call it Argent Iridium. So I've started off, I've got all the prep work done already. I've then taken it into the spray booth, masked the car up, and then I've wiped it down with a wax and grease removing solvent. And then you can see here I've got the yellow tack cloth, and I've opened it up, got a nice fresh new one, and opened it right up so it's not going to stick too much to the panel, and it allows a little bit of air to get in there. And then we'll use the air out of the spray gun at the same time as wiping the whole panel down, so that'll blow off any little bits of lint and dust, and the tack cloth will pick the rest of it up. So I decided to leave it in, leave all the footage of the tack ragging in, because I've sped it up just a little bit, just because it is such an important part. I get a lot of guys saying, oh, I get so much dust in my paintwork, and a lot of it's to do with your prep work and your stuff before you even start painting sometimes. So wipe over it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and you can even do it in between coats of base coat. Sometimes on silvers, if your gun isn't putting enough paint on, it can start going dry and boiling up in between paint, in between coats of metallic. I've got the good GTI Pros, I'm using the HVLP, so you get a lot of paint out. I find it's not generally necessary for my style of painting as well, but it is something that I used to do when I just had the original GTI. Although they had a bigger fluid needle on them, you would actually not get quite as much paint on because of the setup with the fan and that. So here we go for our first coat of base coat. Settings for this gun, GTI Pro with the HVLP Air Cap for base coat, would be wind the fluid right out and open the fan right up and set the pressure just under 2 bar. You can set it up at 2 bar if you like, but I've found if you just drop it down just a touch, you go through a little bit less paint. The paint reps will usually tell you to set it straight at 2 bar for every single coat, but I've found drop it down just a touch for your first couple of coats, and then you can get it right up onto the 2 bar mark for your final effect coat to get your metallic to lay on nicely, and the metallic will stand up. So if you go too low, then it's going to just go on real chunky and real thick, and the metallic won't look quite right. So if you go at about 1.8, 1.9 bar, you're still pretty right for your first couple of coats. Third coat up at 2 bar. So I've left most of this video unedited. I've decided just to leave a lot of the footage in because it's a silver metallic. Sometimes people can have issues with mottling, and also I've had the use of a Sata 4000B HVLP Digital for the use of the clear. It's a friend of mine lent me his gun for this. So we're doing just the 2 fenders, the bonnet, and the bumper bar on this job. So I've found what are the best pointers to get rid of mottle in bonnets on silvers and stuff like that, and make good blends, is to get it on nice and wet for your first few coats. Now using Standox solvent base, I decided to put just an extra coat on just in case it's not covered, because sometimes they can look covered and you can get them out in the sun and you get a see-through patch where your prime was. So I decided to put 3 nice full wet coats on, not 100% wet like clear obviously, but 3 nice wet coats. You can get a look on in the light of the shine I've got on the base coat. That'll give you an idea of how wet it is, and you can see it's starting to cover up after the second coat, but I then just wanted to put another wet coat after the second coat before I put my effect coat on after that. So I've found the key to getting them without mottle is just getting them on even. You can actually do many different painting thicknesses you can get them on. You can put it on a little bit wetter, you can put it on a touch lighter, but as long as it's even, and basically if you're starting at one side, you should see how my spray gun's actually evenly, it meets up to the top of that guard in a straight line. If I'm back there and I'm starting to veer off track, I guess, a bit, then it's not going to be put on even. You're going to have heavy spots and dry spots. So that's what I found is the key. So this is my third coat of base coat. I ended up skipping out most of the base coat on the bumper bar just to shorten the video down a little bit. It already did get quite long. It's a 21-minute video, so it's a bit longer than most of my videos, but it's a pretty nice car. If you hang around to the end, you'll get to see the vehicle once it's been polished, and also once it's been cleaned up, and it's out the front next to another nice job that I got to paint as well. So we've got a poison ivy green VSS Commodore parked next to this S350 Benz, so they look nice together. So back to the job. Nice and medium wet coat for our last coat, sorry, our second last coat, and once this one's on, we'll just let it just start to tack off, just start to flash off, and then we'll go on with our effect coat. We'll also put our blending clear over the edges, the back edges of the guards, where my colour is going to be blended out to allow that wet bed for that final blend coat to land into. You can see that it's drying down nicely. It's not going mottly. Where that other side you could slightly see in the light, it's a little bit patchy, but once it dries down, it should dry out a bit more even. There's no use in panicking. As soon as you put it on, that it might look a little bit mottly. You just got to wait for it to dry down, and then you'll know what it's going to look like. So if you can see it in the base coat once it's dry, well, then you will be able to see it in the clear coat as well. But just make sure you have allowed it to dry first. So another couple of tips I like to do is put fast reducer in my base coat. Even in the middle of summer, I've found you pretty safe. Like, we get some pretty hot days over here in West Australia, where I'm from, in Perth. We can get up to 45 degrees on a really hot day, and this day I painted this car was probably about 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, so you can still get good results in the heat. I found it sometimes actually helps. It makes so you don't really have to wait in between coats. So this is just one of the last coats of base coat I'm putting on the bumper bar, just to give you a bit of a look at how the bars are painted. So this is actually a bit of a older video. I just haven't had the chance to get around to editing it. So since then, I've actually bought this is the GoPro camera that you're looking at. This one of my first videos on the GoPro, and since then I've bought a head mount and a chest mount. So some of those videos have actually came up pretty good. I'm pretty happy because you're up close point of view look at spray painting. So just same thing, you don't want your metallic on too heavy. Best way to explain it is that it's a flake. So the metallic flakes are two-sided, and they if you put them on too wet, well, then they're going to lay down and they're not actually going to stand up, and the light won't reflect them when they sit out in the sun. They'll end up lying down, and you won't see the metallic flakes standing up properly. So once we've got this coat on the bumper bar, I've then gone and put the blending clear over the back edge of the guards there, and now we're doing our blend coat of base coat. This is our final blend coat, just flicking it out over the back of that guard. So you don't want to go too far, but we just need to make sure that we've got a bit of colour over the front of the fender where the bumper bar is going to be coming up to. So you can see that that's actually sitting pretty nice as it is, but I've then decided just to put my effect coat over the top of that coat of base coat. Pressure up at 2 bar. Some people like to do what they used to call a drop coat, and they would hold the gun right back and they would just let the metallic drop right on, and if that gets the effects, if that gets the desired results for you, then go for it. But this is the way I've found works the best for me. some people call it a tech coat, technique coat, effect coat. There's many names for it, but call it what you want. Just make it look right. So here we go. Just a lot. You've noticed I'm going a lot quicker than the last couple of coats for this coat. It's just a quick go over, and you can tell straight away that's drying pretty much straight away as soon as it hits the panel, and there's no mottle in that at all. The colour blended out quite nice. We've got it in the sun.
So I've been lucky enough to have a mate of mine lend me the Sata 4000B HVLP spray gun. Give it a go with the clear coats on these jobs. So basically this is the first time I've used it. It's got to be a pretty basic setup for it. We're going to have the fluid set at about 2 lines out. We're going to have the fan open right up. We'll set the digital gauge to approximately 2 bar of pressure.
Yeah, so this is our first coat of clear. This was actually the very first time I used this spray gun. It's pretty good. I really like it. You get a lot of paint on. It's good for using with these European cars actually. You get a pretty consistent peel and you get a nice amount of paint on. Being high volume, you do get quite a lot more paint on than a conventional gun would. Back to one thing that can actually help when trying to get rid of mottle. You don't want your first coat on too wet. It's what we call a closed coat. So the first coat of clear, just so it just closes up over the base coat, so you can't see through to any of the base coats through your. They've got no totally dry spots, but you don't want to absolutely smash it on because it can actually sometimes grab into that effect coat of base coat and it will start pulling it. So that's one thing to be careful of. You notice I'm getting the gun nice and close and I'm moving nice and quick. So pretty efficient gun these. The main real letdown for these guns is their price. I think if they brought the price down, they'd probably sell twice as many. The guy I bought this off, he's obviously in the trade. He's a spray painter. He worked for a glazurette shop and they ended up doing a deal for him, so he managed to get this gun for $1,100, which they, to the public, I think it's actually about $1,600 for one of these guns, which is totally out of most people's price range. And I don't blame you if you wouldn't buy one. I personally wouldn't because they're just too expensive. I could end up buying 2 GTI Pros, DeVilbiss GTI Pros for the same price, but I do like the gun. So yeah, just back to our clear coat, getting it on nice. I am using Crystal Clear, Standox Crystal Clear Pro on this job, so I'm confident that I can put 2 full coats over that blend on the back of the fender there. If I was using one of the glazurette clears, we used to use glazurette 255, which is a extremely yellow clear. It's very thick. It's a real high solid clear, and if I was using that, I would only just put the 1 coat over the blend panel, over the back edge of the blend panel, and especially on a colour like this. If it was a black or a darker colour, you'd get away with it, but especially whites and silvers and golds and any light metallics or any light colours, full stop, you don't want to put 2 coats over that blend panel. So here we go on with our bumper bar. Just angling the gun up. I personally don't like changing closing the fan up just to get into those the vents and the openings and that of the bumper bars. I just put the gun on an angle and just get it that way, and I found it gets the results. So it works for me. Some people, or I used to also do it, used to close the fan up a touch and then go around, do all your insides, do all your edges, and then open your fan back up and come back around and do all the flat surfaces, but I found it's not really necessary. So we've given that a few minutes in between coats. Obviously that's going to depend on the temperature where you are, on how long it's going to take in between coats. Also the hardeners you're using. On a job like this, I use medium hardener. I personally don't really like to use slow hardener unless it's a very hot day and I'm doing a respray. Job like this, medium hardener is fine for. Actually, pretty soon I've decided I'm going to be respraying my own car. So most of the time we've actually got to make cars look like they rolled out of the factory floor. So we've got to keep them consistent with the orange peel, and all the paintwork's got to look factory. So I'm doing my own car. I've decided just to do something different. I've got some rust repairs on it, so I'll be taking you through them. Got a few other wiring things, just putting a kill switch on it. I'll do some videos on stuff like that, and putting the immobilizer on. I'm also decided I'm going to do some custom paintwork on it. I'm going to make it look like an old race car. It's an old Ford, so I'm going to make it look pretty cool. Put the racing decals on it and some racing numbers, and just do some pretty cool custom paintwork. So that's something to look forward to. I'll just be gradually uploading the videos as I get the work done. So it's all going to be done in my own time on the weekends, so don't expect it done in any great deal of a hurry, but it's something we can look forward to. So I've got plenty of other videos, try to cover most aspects of the automotive smash industry. I uploaded a couple this morning, a few tricks on doing sealer, a couple of colour matching videos. I've got prep work videos. I've got many colour matching ones. I'll try to upload as many as I can. Quite busy. I've also got a second job working on airplanes, and I've taken a few photos of that, and when I get the chance I'll end up making a bit of a slideshow and take you through some of the steps and some of the differences in painting airplanes compared to painting cars. But yeah, so this is a Iridium S350 755. It's a pretty good colour. It's quite a common colour with Standox. We found the GE variant, which actually stands for Gelb, which is German for yellow. So the yellow variant in Standox in Australia, we don't even have to check this colour anymore. When we get one of these cars in, we just mix that variant up and paint it, because we know that it's a good colour. But this may vary depending on your country, because we Australian actually manufacture our own Standox. So sometimes the tinters are not exactly 100% the same from country to country. So this is bringing us to our last coat of clear. As you can see, it's really got a big fan on it. It gets it on real nice. Here's some footage coming over for the last coat on the bumper bar. Making sure we keep the pressure settings and the settings correctly. I found you wouldn't want to go much further out with the fluid on this gun, because they really do hammer a lot of paint on, especially with the HVLP cap on it, which is the green cap there. They do throw so much paint on. So two turns out is what I found the best setting for this gun. Hang around in about a minute or two. We've got some footage of it in the direct sunlight. You'll be able to have a look at the way the metallic laid down on the bonnet. And as I said, we've also got some footage of it being washed up, and then another quick clip of it out the front, ready for pickup. At the end, also at the very end, I've got a couple of other links to some other videos I've done. There's the Sata Jet RP, which is the brother of this gun, I guess you could say, 4000B RP, and also we've got the DeVilbiss GTI Pro for clear coat, and using the HVLP cap on that, that's my gun, the HVLP GTI Pro. That's the ones I usually use. I've got 4 of them, use them daily, swear by them. So it's this job just about coming up to an end as we finish this bumper bar off here. I was pretty happy with how this one came up. Ended up a couple of D-nibs over the bonnet, but that's pretty standard. Quite clean. Metallic's laying down nicely, colour blended out nice too. Here we are outside, yet to be assembled, but this is in the sunlight. Metallic looks good across the bonnet, the blend looks nice. This is being washed up after it's been polished up. Got a nice gloss to it. Here we go out the front. Next to another one of my jobs, I've actually got a vid of that car being painted too, that SS Commodore in the Poison Ivy green. Check through my other vids, you'll be able to find that one. So that pretty much wraps up this job. Check out these couple of links if you haven't already seen them. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Thanks again for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.